So the teacher role with the task-based learning is to select and make the sequence of the task sections. So the teacher will select the task, will adapt and create the task, and then will form kind of an instructional sequence, or like a kind of activities to keep up with the learner needs, interests, and language skills levels. So that means a teacher role with task learning is the teacher will try to select. Again, the teacher role will be as selector and sequencer of tasks. So the teacher will select, adapt, create the task, will form the instructional sequence. It means the activities for this task during different days with deadlines to match and align with the learner needs, interests, and language skills. Because the purpose of the task is to check the learner needs and match it, and also to check the learner interest and develop their learning and language skills, for example, for reading, listening, writing, and speaking. The other role is prepare the learners for the task. What does that mean? How to prepare the learner for the task? It means the teacher will create kind of activities. So it will include what will be the topic. She or he will introduce the topic, will clarify the task instructions. So the teacher will clarify what will be the task, what the students have to do for the task. Will try to help the students and learners to recall some words, phrases that will assist them to do the task and accomplish the task, and also can provide some demonstration of the task procedures. So again, the role of the teacher is to prepare the learner for the task. So how is that? Through some activities like introduce the topic, clarify the task instructions, what the students have to do the task. So for this, the teacher will try to assist the students to recall and remember some of the words, vocabularies, phrases that will assist them to produce and do the task. And also the teacher can do kind of like demonstration to demonstrate the task procedure, like the first step, the second step, the third step, the fourth step, what they have to do, what they like what kind of questions they might answer, what is the purpose of the task, what are the objectives, the outcomes, all these kind of activities just to prepare the learner for the task. So there are also other primary roles of the learner to be ready to do the task. For example, if they are working in a group, so the students should participate. If they are working, for example, in a small group or large group or in pairs together as peers, so they have to participate, like actively participate in the group. Monitoring, it means in the activities of the task-based learning, the student will try to learn, notice the language, how it is used, So the purpose of the task is facilitating the learning. So the students, through the task, will try to notice how the language is used for communication. So through monitoring and noticing the languages. The other role is risk taker and innovator. It means that the student will try to take risk. They will try to notice, guess the linguistic form, the contextual clues. They might ask for a clarification. They will ask other students, and they will try to ask for help from their peers. So that means they have to take the risk and try to innovate. So for example, if they don't know about a linguistic resource, or they made kind of errors, it is okay. Because through the task-based learning, they have to make errors, take risk, ask for help, try to create, interpret like messages, try to guess the linguistic form, try to understand, notice how the language is used, and it is okay. They can ask for clarification from the teacher, from their peers. So it means that they can take the risk and innovate. Innovate. So again, the innovate, it means that because they try to notice, they try to understand the linguistic form and the context, and they try to create whatever they can just to do the task. So what are the procedure and the activities of task-based learner? So we have the author Jane Wells. She identified the sequence of activities in task-based learners as pre-task, that means before the task, then the task cycle, the process of the task, and then the language focus. So at the end will be the focus on the language. So the sequence of activities will be before the task, will be during the task, the processes, and then the focus will be on the language. Because as we said, it is what? Task-based language learning. So our focus at the end is to teach a language and to learn a language. So what do I mean by a pre-task? It will be about the instruction to the topic and the task. The teacher will discuss about the topic, will mention what are the structures, the new structures. She will introduce the structures, what the student have to do. In details. So the pre-task, the teacher will discuss the topic, will introduce the topic, and the instruction, what they have to do for the task. And this stage will be before the task. We call it a pre-task. The task cycle is start with the task, the planning, report, post-task listening. So the task will be introduced. Then the planning, how you plan for the task, what will you do, what kind of activities, will you do like, collecting data, surveys, interviews, all this. And then you will do the report. After the students are done with doing the task, they will give like a report for the teacher. If it is a research paper or video or reflection or position paper, And then they will have post-task listening. It means they will present the task, the teacher will listen more to the students, and it can has also kind of reflection, and that's what we are doing in our class. We have after your task, it's all connected, one idea. We will have what? The reflection and the presentation. So that's what we are actually doing. We're doing the task, introducing the task. We plan for the task. That means we discuss like weekly how you'll do it, what kind of data you'll collect. You start reading, you start, listening to your colleagues. We have like 10 to 15 minutes to discuss whatever you are doing. Like today, Nov, how she presented her survey, and we discuss how she can improve the survey. So after all these kind of processes, the student will give the report to the teacher. The teacher will look at it again and again and again, and then it will be kind of presentation and discussion, giving feedback and all that. So through the whole task cycle, there is kind of feedback. So it is not only at the end. So last stage is the language focus, because as we said, task language learning, task-based language learning. So we have the analysis one, we have the practice. So what do we mean when we focus on the language? So for the analysis, that means the students will reflect, will analyze their use of the language that emerge through the task. For the practice, the student will put the language acquired into practice. That means they will use the language. So for example, based on the topic, we have virtual learning, we have diversities and other topics for other classes, for example. So through the whole process, you will learn new lexicons, lexical units, new vocabularies, sometimes grammatical points. The teacher might focus through the task. Sometimes the teacher might focus on how to collect the data, how to write a research paper, how to create some kind of videos. So how you reflect and all that, how you critique, how you analyze, how you connect ideas. So all these kind of activities at the end, as a student and a teacher, will be kind of what? Focusing on a language, because you are learning through the whole process. So for the language focus is through the analysis and the practice. So if we think about the framework of the task-based language teaching, so we have the pre-task, we have the task cycle, and we have the language focus. The pre-task, as we said, the introduction of the task and the instructions. The teacher tries to prepare for the task before the student starting doing the task. For the task cycle, first the task, small or groups or large groups or pairs, this will start working. The planning, the student will start to report to the whole class, discuss, have more feedback and all that. The report, so it will be the last stage when they report to the teacher and to the classroom, to the whole group, and try to compare results, especially if the task, all the task about the same topic. For example, for my class of language and emergent literacy, the idea is the student will collect data about children language, and they will do analysis. So all the students will be the same topic, but with different angles, because there are different students, different ages, different grades, and all that. So the task cycle will be task, and they plan it, and then they report it. The last stage is the focus on the language, so through the analysis and practice. So what are the advantages of the task-based learning? First is applicable, that means we can do it. It's suitable for the students. with different ages and background, because you can provide a task, maybe can simple or can be more challenging based on the age or the grade of the student. The background, because it will be open to the student background, maybe if it is related to the culture, society, politics, religion, so they can discuss it through that. So with the task-based learning, the students will have more varied exposure to the language. What does that mean? That means the student can use the four skills: the reading, writing, speaking, listening, with other kind of skills of the language use. So they will use and expose to different of the language use and skills. And one of the advantages that the student will use different kind of vocabulary, grammar, so it is based on the task. So they will use the language that they need for the task. So they are free to do this. So they can search more for the vocabularies. They might do like, go to the dictionaries, Google Translate. They'll try to have more kind of grammatical like sentences, phrases, and all that, just to do their task. It is meaningful communication. The student will communicate with others using the language, just for example to inquiry, do interviews, data analysis like surveys. They might watch some videos, read some news. So it's all kind of what? Communication. So it is meaningful. It has a meaning because they're trying to figure out about a topic. And what is good, as we said at the end, they will learn about language forms. So like lexical phrases, vocabularies, collocations, patterns. So all that related to what? To the vocabulary. And also language forms like the grammar, the functions of the grammar and all that. And also they will be what? Ambitious just to learn the language, because when they engage and interact more, they will start to dig in more, deep in more in the knowledge and in the communication. So they will be ambitious and they will be motivated to learn, do the task, and learn also the language. If we discuss the disadvantages, some students might find it difficult because it needs a high level of creativity and also initiative. And that's what I always try to state in my task, that you have to be creative and innovative, and you think out of the box just to do the task. So for example, for this course, current trend and issues, so you try to think about the topics in different ways, from different angles, from different, let's say, political, religious, culture, society, different kind of issues, that you connect the same idea to the topic. And as you know, to do the task, so you don't only focus on the textbooks as a resource or the material that you have in the classroom. What you do, you go beyond that. You go and read articles, you watch videos, you go sometimes to the social media, to the news, you go and communicate, let's say, with teachers, with others, just to collect data. You do interviews, surveys, and other kind of resources, which is good. But sometimes it's difficult for some students, because some students, they used to just focus on the textbooks or maybe the presentation that are presented by the teacher. But with the task-based learning, they have to go beyond the textbooks, and the resources are available for the classroom and the course. They have, as I mentioned, to go beyond that through, communicating with others, watching movies, videos, social media, and all that, articles for research and all that. So as we said, it is not teacher-centered. It is more as learner-centered. So it is more to the responsibility. The students as individual and a group, they are responsible and they are committed to do the work. So they are parts of a group and they have to do the work. So it is not what? Teacher-centered. The responsibility is on the student to do the work with the group member. And also, as we said, for the task-based, you try to have both the fluency and accuracy. So maybe because of this, maybe the student might be fluent, but might not achieve what? The accuracy. Because as we said, you try to communicate and use the language more than you just only focus on the grammatical errors and you correct the grammar and how to write and all these kind of accuracy issues. So that may be some of the disadvantage, that the students can achieve fluency, they can be fluent and and they have confidence to speak and do the work, but maybe with accuracy they might still have some, let's say, grammatical errors and all that, but it is okay.